Most of us don't give spiders much thought. 8 legs, a web in the corner, something to quietly usher out of the house. We assume we already understand them, but we don't. The deeper you look at a spider, truly look, the more extraordinary it becomes. Some species can fly, not with wings, but by drifting through the air on threads of silk, riding the wind across entire countries, sometimes even the open ocean. Others can hear without ears. They can see without moving their eyes. And some plan their hunts like chess players, patient, calculating, precise. Spiders are 400 million years old, older than the dinosaurs, older than trees, older than flowers, forests, or anything we would recognize as a natural landscape today. Which raises a fascinating question. How did these animals become what they are today? And to answer that, we have to go back, much further back than most people expect. 450 million years ago. The land was almost entirely empty. No forests, no grasslands, no birdsong. The continents were bare rock, edged by shallow seas, with only low mats of moss and primitive plants pushing cautiously through the stone. Life, for the most part, was still a marine enterprise. But some creatures were beginning to attempt something extraordinary. They were leaving the ocean. Among the earliest of those pioneers were the distant ancestors of spiders, small 8-legged arthropods carrying a body plan shaped by the sea, now being tested for the very first time in open air. They had no silk yet, no venom. What they had were simple legs, basic fangs, and an extraordinary ability to endure. The land in those days was a harsh and alien environment, no shade, little moisture, and violent swings in temperature. These early animals had to learn it all from scratch. Over tens of millions of years, they adapted. While the insect lineage developed 6 legs, compound eyes, and eventually wings, the chelicerate line moved in a completely different direction. 8 legs, 2 body segments, simple eyes, instead of compound ones. And instead of antennae, something far more subtle and far more sensitive, thousands of microscopic hairs covering the body, each one capable of detecting the faintest tremor in the air or through the ground. By around 300 million years ago, something we would recognize as a true spider had appeared. Some of the earliest fossils show creatures with segmented plates along their abdomens, and perhaps even a short, vestigial tail, features that no modern spider possesses. These were evolutionary prototypes, nature experimenting with different designs, testing configurations, discarding what failed, and refining what worked. And from that immense span of trial and refinement, 2 inventions emerged, 2 adaptations that would change everything. The first was venom. The second was silk. Venom is one of nature's most elegant solutions to a very old problem. How does a small creature safely overpower something that might be larger, faster, or better armed than itself? For spiders, the answer did not come through size or brute strength. It came through chemistry. What is surprising, however, is that spider venom did not originally evolve as a weapon at all. It evolved as a digestive aid. Early spiders, like most animals, broke down their food internally, enzymes in the gut doing their work after a meal was swallowed. But at some point, those digestive enzymes began to migrate. They started being produced in glands closer to the fangs, and when injected into prey, they could begin breaking down tissue from the outside, pre-digesting the meal before it was even consumed. Over millions of years, some of those enzymes mutated into something far more powerful. Rather than simply dissolving tissue, they began interfering with nerve signals, shutting down the electrical communication between brain and muscle, collapsing prey into paralysis, almost instantly. A spider that once had to wrestle its food into submission could now, with a single bite, bring the struggle to an end. And venom did not evolve this way just once. It appeared independently across many different spider lineages, each arriving at a slightly different chemical solution. Tarantulas developed venoms suited to subduing insects and even small vertebrates. Widow spiders evolved powerful neurotoxins capable of affecting animals many times their own size. And the Sydney funnel-web spider of Australia produces a venom so potent that, left untreated, it can kill a human being in a matter of hours. But here is the important thing to understand. For most of the world's 45,000 spider species, venom is not really about killing at all. It is about digestion. Spiders cannot chew. They are, in the most literal sense, external digesters. They bite, inject a mixture of paralyzing agents and enzymes, and then wait, as the prey's insides slowly break down into a liquid they can consume. Some species produce compounds that act almost like an anesthetic, keeping prey still and alive while digestion proceeds, from the outside in. Others secrete venoms that lock muscles firmly in place, leaving prey in a state of suspended animation. Fresh food, preserved for later. It sounds strange to us, but it is predation refined to its chemical minimum. And it set the stage for the second great invention of spider evolution. Spiders have now survived 5 mass extinctions. They outlasted the dinosaurs. They endured ice ages, supervolcanic winters, and asteroid impacts that reset the course of life on Earth. And today, they are doing what they have always done, adapting, quietly and efficiently, to whatever world they find themselves in. In cities, certain orb weavers have learned something remarkable. They built their webs around street lamps and illuminated windows, where artificial light concentrates insect prey. Some spider populations have even shifted their behavior from nocturnal to daytime activity to avoid light pollution. Others have moved almost entirely indoors, living within the walls and ceilings of human buildings, hunting the same household pests we share our homes with, isolated from their outdoor relatives. Some of these populations may already be changing, new behaviors, new adaptations, and perhaps, in time, entirely new species, shaped by the environments we have created. As temperatures rise, tropical species are expanding their range, moving into regions that were once too cold to sustain them. New predators meet new prey, new competitions begin, and the consequences of these shifts are still unfolding. They were here before the first flower, before the first bird, before the first mammal ever drew breath. Every world this planet has offered them, they have entered and made their own. The spider does not wait to be suited to its environment. It simply finds a way. It always has. Thanks for watching our documentary again. Like and subscribe if you don't want to miss anything from the next documentary. Until next time.